Well, ANZAC Day is extremely important for all Australians, particularly for those of us who are still in uniform. We do carry the legacy of our predecessors forward. We're very proud to do so. Of course, there's no more typical Australian sport than AFL, so it's great that the Sydney Swans and West Coast Eagles will be commemorating or playing for the HMAS Sydney II Commemorative Trophy this weekend. The traits of loyalty, dedication, teamwork, mateship that we saw on the ANZACs, we saw on the crew of HMAS Sydney II, and we see right throughout the Australian Defence Force, are also critical for an AFL team to succeed as well. So it's great that these two teams are playing, and it's quite symbolic too. Obviously, Sydney shares our namesake city with the Sydney Swans, and both the original ANZACs in the First World War and also HMAS Sydney II in the Second World War sailed from Western Australia as their last port of call. So it's quite fitting that those two teams are battling it out for this trophy.
And this weekend, when your ship's company and sailors who are based in Sydney take part in the remembrance ceremony, it must be even more special to be able to do that in front of tens of thousands of Australians at the SCG.
That will be fantastic, Adam, and I know the AFL have been tremendous supporters of both ANZAC Day and the Australian Defence Force for many years, but certainly a lot of my sailors are looking forward to the chance to partake in the commemorations actually on the field at the SCG in front of such a huge crowd, linking both the loss of HMAS Sydney II and ANZAC Day in this very important game. They're really looking forward to it, and of course of enjoying a great game of football on completion.
And after the match, you'll be presenting the Man of the Match award?
I will be. We've actually donated a shell from our gun that we use. It was fired from this very ship, and it's been mounted up as a trophy to present to the Man of the Match, and I'm quite honoured and proud to be able to present that after Saturday's game.
And I'd like to call forward Bob Austin. He represents the Finding Sydney Foundation. Bob, tell us about the search for HMAS.
The search began 15 years ago, and there was a group of 5 people that were really keen on finding the Sydney, and in the 65 years prior to that, the technology wasn't there to find it. Everyone had ideas, but nobody really knew. So as technology progressed further, the state government donated money and the federal government donated money after a lot of searching by the Finding Sydney Foundation, and they found it reasonably quickly. Now, it was down 2.5 kilometres below the surface, so you could understand how the technology just wasn't there at that area. So anyway, in finding it, that brings closure, and it's a very exciting time for the HMAS Sydney and Australia.